understand, you can't even begin to describe the glories of what heaven will be.
Amen.
And you will spend eternity exploring the glories of heaven. Eternity. Only 2 of the 12 came back with a positive report. Joshua and Caleb. The rest of them said there's giants in the land. Joshua and Caleb said, hey, God will give this to us. He's already promised it to us. They said, no, we can't defeat this. It's too big for us to do. And guess what? The people did not enter into the promise of God. 40 years. Christian, listen. They wandered in the desert.
Amen.
Only 2 men from that generation of fighting men entered into the promised land. Guess who they were? Caleb and Joshua. The rest of them died in the desert. This is a very, very important truth. God has already, listen to me, Christian, provided every single thing that you will ever need. He says we have been seated with Christ in heavenly places, that we've been given every spiritual blessing in Christ. It is at your disposal. It's already been promised. It's already been provided for you. It is there. But listen to me. There is a key, I believe, important element to getting what we need when we need it. And if you read the story in Acts chapter 16 about Paul and Silas, I believe it's going to show us what this is. Paul and Silas, they were making their way from town to town. They come to this one town, and there is a slave girl, and she is possessed by an evil spirit. And she is being used by her slave owners to tell the future. Fortune telling. Don't mess around with fortune tellers, guys. I'm being serious here. Don't open any doorways you don't need to open. Stay away from fortune telling because it's real. The enemy used her and provided a wealthy living for her slave owners. And the evil spirit kept pestering Paul as he would go throughout the city. Finally, Paul has his fill, and he rebukes the spirit and commands the evil spirit out of the slave girl. And guess what? He had to go. Sets this girl free. The slave owners realize they just lost a cash cow. And they get Paul and Silas, and they drag them before the leaders. And before it's all said and done, Paul and Silas were beaten, they were caned, and they were canes with canes, and they were put in prison. That ain't a very good circumstance. But then it says in the next verse, about midnight, Paul and Silas begin to praise, worship, and give thanks to God.
Amen.
Now, I'm going to tell you something. That wouldn't have been me. I'd have been grumbling to God over my circumstance. God, what do you have me doing here? Do you know these welts all over my back and all this over my body? I did something good here. I'm working for you, God. Now look, I'm in prison. I'm grumbling. I'm complaining. But you know what? That wasn't what Paul and Silas were doing. Paul and Silas were giving praise, glory, and honor, and thanksgiving to God. In their circumstance, they were giving thanks to God. Think about that. Their circumstance had not changed at all. It was bleak and it was dark. But God was in the circumstance with them. Do you understand what I'm saying?